Hey guys, Mike here from Mash Performance. So today we're going to talk about the concept of rolling and soft tissue work for our lower limbs, specifically our foot arches, our Achilles, and our calf, or our gastroc complex. Okay, so we use this all the time. Okay, this is going to benefit everybody, whether it's maintenance work or specific to ankle mobility, such as for a squat or for your sport or whatever it is, injury restrictions, etc., etc. Okay, and there's a million ways to improve ankle mobility, and we'll dive deeper into that in a later time. That's a rabbit hole we don't need to get into right now, okay? So we'll start rolling the feet. I have two things here. I have a lacrosse ball, which is beautiful for this, okay, or a tennis ball. Disclaimer here, you don't want to start working into very sharp, very acute pain pressure stuff, especially on your foot and your Achilles right off the bat. You should have a fair amount of experience in rolling with all this. And think about it, if your feet are hurting and they're tight and they're locked up, they're guarded, that tissue is aggravated with you, hammering it with a sharp object like Graston or a lacrosse ball or a golf ball or something may not be the best choice right off the bat, okay? It's kind of like if you had a bruise somewhere and somebody went and slapped it, you're instantly gonna guard right off the bat, okay? So just be careful, ease into this, you don't need a lot of pressure anyway. But regardless, super simple, okay? Put a little pressure into the foot. You have three arches, right? You have the two on the side and one across the toes. Spend a little time on the outside, middle, inside. A lot of people forget about the big toe area and across from big toe to little toe and circling the heel. You can be very light on this, turn it into a nice nightly massage. Coach Jake has some real cool warm salt rocks he does right before bed that I've tried to adopt. Or you can get a little more aggressive and push into it. You can stand on it. You can use the lacrosse ball, golf ball, etc., okay? So when we're talking foot and we're talking ankle mobility, when you're gonna pin down tissue, rolling it is great, but you should pin down a tissue and add movement in there. Whenever we're doing something like this, we're always trying to incorporate movement and motor control, because if you're just rolling tissue, stretching tissue, gaining new range without understanding how to control that new range, it's weak range and it puts you at arguably susceptible for injury anyway, okay? So pin down a piece of tissue, flex, extend, find some balance points maybe afterwards, do a couple calf raises, whatever, but take the new range that you gained, do something with it, and precursor to all this, usually it's done in the warm-up anyway, and we progress from slow to fast in our warm-up, so it's a precursor for dynamic movement, okay? Now if we're moving up, so we gotta get out of talking about separate foot, Achilles, knee, hip. It's all interlinked, we know this by now, okay? So if we're talking foot arches, we have to talk Achilles gastroc complex. So start at the feet, start at the toes, work your way up, okay? Nice easy rolling on the Achilles. Rolling a tendon is not going to do too much in terms of actual length of the tissue, but it is going to do a lot in terms of pain management, okay? So mechanoreceptors, things like that in the tendons that signal for pain, okay? If it's guarded and it's angry at you, again, rolling on it, if you find a hot spot, don't beat it up, okay? Find a spot, chill out there. There is a lot of validity to just hanging out and just breathing into it and teaching your brain, hey man, it's okay. This is not gonna break off, right? When that pain eases, start working into it a little bit more, okay? And if you're experienced with this, if you wanna get a little bit more aggressive, go ahead and add a little weight on there. Again, we wanna try to incorporate movements, so going light circles, flex, extend, contract, relax, things like that are gonna add to this mobility drill, okay? Work your way up, find some inside, middle, outside. Don't go too high up in the back of the knee. There's a lot of things back there we don't really wanna roll too much, but outside, inside, middle, all the way from the heel to the knee. Good drill for warm-ups, cool-downs. Whether you need aggressive or light is dependent on what you did, where you're at in your tissue, what you're doing for training, what point of the year you're in. Again, we'll talk a lot about that stuff in future videos, but for ankle mobility, general health, if you're walking a lot, if you're on your feet in boots, if you're a big construction worker type person or whatever it is, take some time at night in the morning, spend some time on your feet. Hop down on the ground when you're watching TV, roll out the Achilles, pre or post workout, whatever you're doing, just spend a little time on the lower limb. It'll thank you and pay dividends later on.